Hello and welcome to Regen Reviews, where we review projects and protocols that are working to regenerate the earth. Today, we will be taking a look at Refi Barichara. Let's get into it. Let's start off with a quick summary about what we will cover here. There are 3 projects that are going on simultaneously in the Barichara region of Colombia, and these are all being funded by the Barichara Regeneration Fund. So I'll go one by one explaining these 3 projects and what's going on, and then I'll finish off the video talking about an influential man who is participating in these projects and is starting to become a bit of a thought leader in the regeneration space. The first project is titled the Origen del Agua, which means origin of water in Spanish. And this is a 3-hectare nature preserve that was purchased with funds donated to the Barichara Regeneration Fund. If you don't know how big a hectare is, you're not alone. I'll put an image on the screen that shows you its size relative to a soccer field. So what they're doing here is reforesting and regenerating a 3-hectare area of land that is heavily eroded. And their analysis has decided that if they can regenerate this area, it will be very beneficial to the water cycle in this ecosystem. So they are doing things like placing rocks in certain areas to slow the flow of water, and they're also pulling up invasive grasses and laying them on areas as a type of mulch to stop the soil from getting eroded and washed away by the rains. And they're also planting native species and bringing back the native plants that will grow and thrive in this area and contribute to the regeneration of the water cycle. The second project in this Barichara region is the Bioparque Moncora. And what they're doing here is called Syntropic Agroforestry. I had to look up what this means, and so here it is. Syntropic agroforestry aims to foster climax ecosystems independent from outside inputs with an emphasis on plants geared towards maintaining food for human consumption. This works through the planting of food crops next to support species that aid with water retention and fixing of nitrogen in the soils, the creation of shade, and the production of biomass to continually provide organic matter to cover the soil and enrich it over time. I've heard this called food forests. Sounds a bit like permaculture to me. Here they're calling it syntropic agroforestry. It is planting food crops next to support species that aid with water retention, nitrogen fixation, these other things. Those support species are probably native species, I would presume, so that they can thrive without needing to constantly add fertilizers or do anything to the soil. So it can be, that's what climax ecosystem means. Climax means it is self-sustaining. The soil health is nurtured by the biomass from the plants, the water is retained, the nutrients the nitrogen is being fixed by the plants. That's what a climax ecosystem is. So they're doing this. Bioparque Moncora is a 1-hectare piece of land that they're working on this syntropic agroforestry project with in Barichara. And this is also being funded by the Refi Barichara Fund. The third project in this group is a learning institution that they are calling a ecoversity, ecological university. It is a decentralized learning institution coordinating and integrating teaching as well as research across the bioregion. So there is a big focus on bioregionalism, like there's an area that shares the same biome and the same general ecology, and we want to train people to be really focused on that local area and do research in that area, volunteer and regenerate that area. And then it's also including this aspect of global knowledge. So there's an emphasis on very local knowledge and global knowledge. And here they're saying lessons learned from field sites using regenerative techniques in the territory, and that they want to create structures that coordinate in-person workshops, online learning material, and on-the-ground research teams. So there's some online coordination that can happen globally between bioregions, and an emphasis on local knowledge, local wisdom. And I also like here how they're talking about emphasizing here diverse ecologies, cultures, economies, and spiritualities. I think our conventional Western education system is showing its cracks and showing it's old, and it's basically meant to produce good worker bees that are good employees in large companies. And so here I'm seeing a plan for an education system that is empowering people with local knowledge, presence in their place, and that local wisdom combined with this global interconnectivity and learning. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the design school that Joe Brewer is working on. There is one man who is starting to become somewhat of a thought leader in the regenerative space. At least I've been influenced by his work. He's given a lot of presentations. He posts a lot of content on Twitter and YouTube, and he even wrote a book called The Design Pathway for Regenerating Earth. In addition to this book, he's really living his message, and he's created something called the Design School for Regenerating Earth. And this is related to what we were talking about with the ecoversity, where it's this local focus and also global cooperation and coordination. And so here's some 5 tenets or pieces of this design school. Is an online learning environment, pathways to participation in bioregional activations around the world, the opportunity to create or participate in emergent design labs, participation in the Design School Fund, and then meaningful connection and collaboration with like-hearted and like-minded peers from around the world. So here's Joe Brewer's book. You can also, if you don't want to read the book, he's very active on Twitter and on YouTube. He actually posts the Zoom meetings from the Refi Barichara group. So if you want to learn more about Refi Barichara, you can check out those YouTube videos. And on Twitter, I've seen him post images of like the cacti and the plants and the different erosion controls that they're doing in the different parks in Barichara. I've also seen him traveling around to the United States and Canada and sharing his wisdom about regeneration and really fostering connections between people. In one of his presentations, he talked about how there was a bunch of other regenerative projects going on in Barichara, Colombia, and he's been a bit of a glue, a connector, a communicator to bring people together, and that a bioregion can't really thrive on a ecosystem level unless all of these different parts are talking to each other. So if you have a few people regenerating one spot and a few people regenerating the other, but they're not sharing wisdom, then they're not really regenerating to their highest capacity. And so he's got a big focus on getting those connections and having people work together to our shared goal, which is regenerating the earth, and the earth so desperately needs us to do this work. So I'll put all the links into the description for Joe's page and also this design school for regenerating earth. He's just tweeted about it in the beginning of March that it is now open and ready to receive members. If you're interested in that, please check out those links. That concludes this review of Refi Barichara. I talked about the 3 projects that they are working on in Colombia, as well as Joe Brewer and this design school for regenerating earth. If you want to support them, I'll put a link to their website. It is called regeneratebarichara.org, and on the top of it you can see a donate option where you can donate to the Refi Barichara Fund, and they also participate in the Gitcoin grants rounds. I donated to them in the Alpha round and also in GR15, and so I'm sure they will be involved in the next round, the beta round coming up soon. So please support them. They're very transparent. You can go to Joe's YouTube channel and check out all of their Zoom meetings. You can go to their website and look into all these projects. And they really want people to get involved. They have this community called Earth Regenerators that is all about people getting involved. And now this design school for regenerating the earth is really calling for people to cooperate and join their efforts. So I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you support this amazing work that's being done in Colombia. Thanks.